What is going on, guys? Welcome to another amazing week, another Sunday where we look at dips that we think are going to rip, and we're going to try to get you guys in some really interesting coins that not only are, some of them are a little bit older, some a little bit are newer, some a little bit are more of a gamble, and some are a little bit more stable coins that we think are going to give you some nice X's as you progress throughout the week. So if you guys are ready to lock in and you're ready to start printing, now is the time because, guys, November is here and we are excited. With that being said, guys, listen, if you want to know when these dips actually happen and take full advantage of getting better X's than, by watching the video, Bolts Alpha is where you want to be. Also, guys, we're going to be dropping the 10X, even a 20X this week, so make sure you guys get in there and hang out. With that being said, let's jump right into it. Here we go. Let's start off with the first one, guys. We haven't really talked about this one. This is the first time we're going to be mentioning in this video, and this is called Ace Data Cloud. This is a kind of a AI token and really, really good kind of, consolidation phase we're seeing here around this 6 to 7 million range. Ideally, you want to get the best buying zone because that's what we try to do in these videos. We try to give you guys the best buying zone for these coins. Now, some of the coins will sometimes just automatically rip after the video comes out, and some of our, they still stay and they still are able to produce a couple X's. But with this one in particular, guys, this is more of a newer coin in the sense that it just kind of got that initial burst throughout. But what we're looking here, guys, is I'm going to look to see if we could get this coin around 5 million. I think that is a nice little sweet zone at the current moment. It recently ran up to 13 million. I think that 5 mil, if we were to get that dip there, would be a beautiful entry for this coin. And it should give us guys like a nice, 2 to maybe a 3x from that entry. I wouldn't be buying this coin around 6 or 7. I'm going to wait. I want the dip. The dip is super important for this coin for us to produce any sort of really good gains. So that's what I would wait for this one in particular. I did want to mention it because it did get a big upside. So I think as we progress throughout Q4, I think this will have a nice little rip. I just don't really know exactly the time frame that it's going to take for it to rip, but I think 5 mil is a nice little good accumulation. So to kind of take a look at it. Now, remember, all of this is not financial advice. I just show you guys what I'm doing to actually make money. And as you guys see, proof is in the pudding. We've been making a lot of gains here. The next one we have, guys, is Bangers. Now, this is a brand new coin. It recently came out, and I like the narrative so much on this one that we're going to actually call this really early in the video. Now, of course, I wouldn't tell you buy this at 5 million because that is kind of crazy right now where it's at. It literally just had like a crazy rip, okay? Just like recently, all right? Like recently, like today, crazy rip from 1 mil all the way to 5 mil here. What I'm looking for this one, I'm trying to find a beautiful entry for this one. So what I would do is I'm going to set this down here to 3 million. That is what I consider a nice, beautiful correction from this coin. If it comes down here to this 3 mil range, there's a possibility it won't come down to this 3 mil range and it will just keep going up. But I still wouldn't take a position on it on the way up. I want to take a position on a correction. So I'm going to look for it to correct around 3 mil. 3 mil to 3.5 mil. I think that would be a nice, healthy correction, and that's where I would probably take a position on this coin. There's a newer coin, of course. With newer coins, it's a little bit more riskier because the community is not fully established. People don't understand their narrative, but that is the kind of like the best entry in my particular point of view right now, where I would actually take some initial interest in this coin. Really good narrative. I hope it holds, and it does really well. So that's a newer coin. The next coin we're going to mention is Fun, and I've been mentioning this for a while around that 2 mil range, the 1.5 range here, and I think it's a very healthy zone here. 1.5 to 2 million. Fun is a very good coin in the sense of what it's doing. It's literally a Shopify for for you to use it with crypto, which is actually pretty cool. Very good narrative. I think right now it's under 2 million. It's at 1.7. I think it dropped down all the way to 1.3 or 1.5 around that range. So that was a very massive dip just because we had a crazy dip throughout the weekend. But I still think this coin will give us some really good returns. Anything under 2 mil or around 2 mil, I think it's a healthy gamble here. It should give us a couple X's, and I expect this one to actually rip a lot sooner than the majority of the coins. I just don't know when it's going to be. It's going to be towards the end of November or before Thanksgiving or around the Christmas holidays. But I do expect this to actually have a nice burst. So Anything under 2 mil to me, it's actually a pretty good bid. Of course, this 1.3 was like the beauty bid because you're kind of in profit already, right? The next one we have is Tokabu. I keep mentioning Tokabu. I keep mentioning this to you guys over and over and over again. A beautiful correction we had here at 5 million. Okay, 5 million was an ideal deal entry for this one. Anything within 5 or 7, I think it's pretty good. Of course, the lower it gets, the better the entry is. I still think this is gonna rip eventually. Should give us some really good X's. Right now it's kind of hovering between that 7 to 5 mil. I think if you're not in this coin, and you missed it for some reason, if it comes down to like that 5.9, that 6 mil range, I think it's a healthy bid. Still could give you guys some really good X's. I think this coin's gonna get pushed a lot, even though it's already being pushed. I do see a lot of cult following on this one. So I don't think eventually he's gonna like end up dying, but I feel like this should do pretty well. The next one I want to mention is an older coin called GIGA, and I'm pretty sure the majority of you guys already know or have heard of GIGA. GIGA Chad. There's a very good coin in the sense that it has a very strong community backing. Not only that, but it's heavily invested in health, and getting buff, right? So I do think 50 mil on this one, guys. It's almost like a no brainer here. Like that, 45 to 50 mil. I think it's a no brainer. I still feel like you could easily, I hate using the word easily, but at least get a 2x on this one, coming back to 100 from that 50 mil. Really good coin. I heard they're actually building a lot of stuff and kind of going to be pushing it a little bit. So hopefully it gets a beautiful correction. This has gone as high as almost a billion, but 50 mil, I think it's almost a no-brainer to actually not take a gamble on this one. Okay. The next one we have is SPSN. Now this is a newer coin as well. This revolving on a narrative around Southpark. On this one, I'm not super bullish on it. I'm a little bit like kind of like in the fence in it, but I did want to mention it because I think if it gets another correction here to this 3.5 3.5 mil range, I think it's where you kind of should be like, okay, let me pay attention to this coin and let me see if I could take a little bit of a gamble there and see if we get a nice healthy bounce. I don't think it has fully ripped in the sense of, gone to that 10 mil, 15 mil range. So that 3.5 correction, I think would be nicely to kind of just pay attention and see what it does, because it seems like the community is actually holding this coin pretty well and they're pushing it very well. And pretty much as long as Southpark keeps delivering episodes, and if it ever gets re-mentioned within the show, I think will get a spike. I just feel like you need to get that nice entry, at at around that 3.4 mil range to actually, be able to get some gains here. So I did want to mention to just keep an eye on it. The next one is a newer coin called Pigger, and this is a very good narrative as well. It already had its correction here down to 2.8. Ideally, that's kind of like where you would be like, okay, well, let me see how well established this coin is. I'm gonna take a gamble here around this, 3 mil range. It already ran up to 5. It got the correction we wanted. Came down to 5, from 5 all the way down to 3. Right now it's correcting. So this is where I would be like, okay, well, let me take a little dab at it and see what happens. But typically, I do think we might see this 2.3 mil range come back down here. The community is not fully established on this. It does have a lot of holders, but I don't see a lot of, like bull pulsers and a lot of like cult following yet. I still think the upside on this one would probably be pretty interesting. I just want to make sure I know exactly where it corrects. So I'm kind of looking to see, okay, well, 3 mil, let's see what happens there. If it doesn't hold this 3 mil, then I do expect it to come down to 2.3. And that's kind of like where I'll be like, okay, let me take a little bit of stab on this one and see how the community holds out. The next one we have is ROI. If you guys were on the stream, we did mention this one on the stream on, I don't think it was Thursday, or it was either Thursday or Tuesday, where we kind of went over this one. It had a nice little push to 5 mil. Right now it's kind of correcting, coming down from that 5 mil range here. It's tested it twice to, this like 3 mil range. Ideally, this is where I would look to see and pay attention to this ROI coin. That's 2.5 mil range. That's kind of like where I'm like, okay, let me see if it comes down here or if we get like some sort of test here again at this 3 mil range. I want to see what happens at this 3 mil range. If it bounces or we get another slip, that 2.5 range is nicely there where I would take some allocation here and be like, okay, let me invest a little bit in ROI and see how well this one does. I like the narrative. ROI sounds really cool. So we have seen other like coins like this actually run. So keeping my eye on this one. So I do want to see that. I mean, that 2.5 would be amazing. Okay. The next one we have is Ghost. Of course, this is one that you guys have seen before. This once again wrapping around the meta of privacy. Ideally on this one, guys, we want to see this. I don't know if we're gonna see this this 8 mil range again. You know, that's 7.5, but I do think we see 8 mil. Okay. So around that 8 mil to 7.5, I think that's where I would probably take some a little bit of allocation on this coin. As of course the privacy meta came out really strong, we had a nice little correction here, and I'm looking to allocate somewhere around that 8 to 7 mil for Ghost. There's one that I would definitely be paying attention to as well. The next one we got is Polyfacts, and this is wrapping around predictive marketing. What we want to do here, guys, of course, 2.9 would be ideal for everybody to be like, yo, let me take a stab on it. Right now, it's running up to 4 mil. You want to see that correction between 3 mil and that 2.5. You want to see if it comes back down here. Take a nice little stab. It's ran to almost 10 mil here in that nice retest. So that 2 mil, it's a nice little 3 to 4x here for you guys to actually take some advantage here on Polyfacts. The next one we have is Pecule, but I'm pretty sure if you search Pecule, it might not come up because they did change the name to PMX. That's another one that you guys are looking at. Of course, if you were in Bolts Alpha, I gave you guys a call when it had this crazy dip to 6 million. You guys should be up right now. It's at 10 million. You kind of want to keep an eye on this one. It's probably going to test the 12 mil, 10 mil range, and then it'll probably have another correction. That's where you kind of want to see where it drops. I don't think we see that 6 to 7 mil again, but if we do, that's where you guys want to take a stab. Anything under 10 mil for this coin seems very, very bullish for me. I do think it's going to test all-time high once again. So that's another coin I'm definitely paying attention to. The last one we're going to be talking about is Spark. And the reason I'm mentioning Spark is because if you saw what happened to Gore had a crazy, crazy dip, and then it just had a crazy, crazy bounce back to 9 mil range. That dip was really, really healthy actually, and it came down really, really low. So a lot of people took advantage, and I want to mention Spark because Spark could probably do the same thing. It's come down as far, guys, as like this 2.5 mil range. I don't think it dips back here again to this 2.5. Probably a possibility. Maybe it'll do it, but I just don't see it coming back down here to this like 2.4 range. So it seems like it's consolidating here. I'm gonna see if it tests this like 4-ish, like 4 mil range again, and it gets another dip down to this 2-3 mil range. I think that's a healthy kind of like stab to take a nice little gamble on it. And I do feel like it will go it will I don't know if it's gonna test all-time highs, but I think it'll test the first one, the first target here, this 30 mil range. So I think from here, anything under 3 mil, I mean, it still gives us a nice little 4 to 5x. And those are the coins that have a healthy dip right now. There are some other coins that I'm pretty bullish on that look pretty well. Of course, you want to know what those coins are, head over to Bolts Alpha so we can let you guys know and give you guys a breakdown. But these are the ones I feel like are in a beautiful correction, and you should keep an eye on for this week that's coming and for the following weeks, because some of these are going to transition from this week to the next week. So you want to make sure you keep it locked here. Also, don't forget we stream every Tuesday and Thursdays live, giving you guys some crazy, crazy alpha. And don't forget, this week's going to be pretty crazy, so make sure you guys lock in. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one.